Okay, good evening, everyone. Let's see here. We got it shows a few people in here, and we got a few more coming in. Got to top off some coffee here. Hold on. These new times are I'm still adjusting to as well. Hey, Purified, good to see you. Good to see you. And hey, mugs up on the coffee there. All right, so this has been a interesting week for me. Normally, we try to talk about a little bit of the stuff I've been working on and researching, but honestly, this week I didn't get a lot of my own work done. A few different things had happened. First, the in-laws visited. Great visit. We had a lot of fun. And, well, my mother-in-law brought me two big, massive boxes of tea, oolong and Earl Grey. So I've got enough tea to get me through the year easy, if not more than that. Thank you for that. Uh, hey, Grand, good to see you. Good evening. A12, good to see you. Jade and Peachy, hey, glad you could all join us. Um, we are still trying out the new times, as you can all see. We'll see how they hold up. Bornoldas, hey, you made it, man. Um, that said, though, I did not get a chance to do a lot of my private work. Also had a lot of phone calls and issues I had to deal with for some other people. But that's okay. That's what we do. We try to help people when we can, as best we can, or and teach them to do so for themselves as well. But it has been a very, very busy week, but a good one, a very good one. Hey, Anubis, glad you can make it. The Discord server has been very active. We've been having a lot of questions in there, which this time of year the server does pick up quite a bit, and I expect it to get even busier. So if you have not yet joined the Discord community, there is a link in the About section of the YouTube channel. Jump over there and join us. It's a lot of fun. Great bunch of people. Agalot, welcome. Um, Also, if you do wish to support the channel in any way, we do have memberships now, as well as there is the super chats. You can use that just to support the channel. Or if we get busy and I miss your question, that'll make sure it flashes really big up on the screen there. Make sure I can get to your question. Trying to go through all the details the admin get on to me for missing. um, let's see here. I discovered your channel via a recommendation within the Luciferian Search Society Discord server. Listening intently. Awesome. I'm unaware of that particular Discord server, but hey, Acolyte, welcome to the channel for sure. Uh, well, the research and ramblings, we talk about the research that I have going on. This week, though, was in-laws visiting, so not a lot of research that I got done. Had to work with a few clients, but I can't really share those details. The ramblings part is usually where I ramble on about different things that I do have going on, or take questions and try to answer them to the best of my ability when put on the spot with the question. So we just kind of wing the lives, and then I also do get a lot of the information or ideals for the videos to put on the channel from you all, so that helps too. Recommended to your jar spell video. Good stuff. Yeah, that's a good video. That is. I love that video. I like the way it turned out. That was a fun topic for me because I love jar spells, but that was one of the videos. It's like I wanted to present it in a functional and practical way, so that one video could get just about anyone started. Dimensions, getting your coffee now. Hey, there you go. Purified Drake, how does animals ascend? Or I'm guessing that means ascend. I'm guessing it's like humans, just getting experience and wisdom and knowledge. Um, yeah, by and large, purified. Animals do ascend to an extent. They're not quite exactly like us, so their process is slightly different. And part of that is because they are far more closely tied to instinct and behavior than we are. We have removed ourselves from the instinct side of things. Um, and that is a pro and a con because humanity has removed ourselves from the instinct side, but in so doing, we've also lost the concept and ability to balance ourselves with our environments. And this is one of the things that humanity is still trying to learn as we grow toward our ascent. So there is a slight difference, but the general concept is the same, if that makes sense, purified. Stuart, hey Drake, any recommendations for working with Astarte? Um, I've worked with Astarte a few times. It was largely through evocation. Um, I've not done a detailed path working, though I'm wanting to. So my biggest recommendation, Stuart, would be go check out the videos we did on finding an entity or a deity and contacting a entity or deity. Those tips that are in those two videos will really help you reach out and get in touch with any entity, and Astarte is indeed one of them. In fact, one of my students actually used those two videos to begin working very closely with Astarte. So hope that helps you out there, Stuart. Hey, Luna, welcome. Glad you can make it, troublemaker. Anime Geek, can you have more than one guardian dragon? No. No, you cannot. There are rare cases where two twins will often work as a singular guardian, but you still are only assigned technically that one. So it is possible in the rare occasions where two twins or two siblings will function in the position of one, but that is the only exception. You can only have one guardian and one co-magician by draconic law. And even when it comes to the co-magician, in the case of the sibling and twin thing for the guardian, where sometimes you can have two, like a set of twins operate as a single guardian, that doesn't even happen with the co-magicians. The siblings will be split up as a co-magician. So there's no exceptions to the co-magician, unfortunately. Which actually, that might be fortunate. That might be fortunate because the twin guardians, those can be a handful. Uh, Purified. So their ascension is more in tune with nature. Yeah, it's more in tune with nature and the balance, as opposed to just general knowledge and growth. Sorry about that. Hit the computer. Um, let's see, Anubis. Do you think humanity, in a wealth standpoint in history, is living one of the most distant eras? Anubis, that's one of the things I really generally don't want to get into. The best way I can say this is wealth is a matter of perspective. End of story. We have a lot of people who want to hate on people who have what they don't. Um, Personally, if you have wealth, I don't care how much you have, and I really don't care what you do with it. It's yours. If you earned it, you earned it. By all means, do what you want with it. I don't even care if you won the lottery. Do what you want with it. You are not required to help another person. In fact, requiring people to help another person completely undermines generosity and kindness, because generosity and kindness seek to or cease to exist in a world where you're required to help another. So, to those greedy people who want to hang on to their money, hang on to it. More power to you. I support you. Um, you earned it. Do what you want with it. Roll it up into cigars and burn it. I really don't care. Um, Everyone's view of wealth is very, very different. And one thing I have learned, money won't make you happy. It will not. People think it will. They'll even think it makes their life easier. It does not. Money actually complicates your life. And if you don't know what to do with it or how to use it, it'll destroy you. So, yeah, when it comes to wealth and stuff like that, I really don't care what a person does. And as far as how humans use it, that's a completely individual thing. Humanity as a whole and how we view wealth, it's a matter of perspective and it goes from individual to individual. And it is true, a large section of cultures are viewing money in very, very similar fashions these days. But as a whole, it still comes down to personal choice. Always has, always will. And I think it's actually a cop out to try and blame culture or other people um, for our current standings. Grand Bruh, what is your views on honoring and working with ancestors? Um, I work with my ancestors quite a bit, actually, all the time, and I honor my ancestors. Um, in fact, my personal hailing rite includes my ancestors in it, um, good and bad. Now, this is something a lot of people who in Discord have heard. I'm not overly fond of my blood family, the bulk of them. So it seems odd to people when I don't specify when I honor my ancestors. Um, and here's the thing, good or bad, that motley crew, they laid the foundation for me to be where I am. And I mean that. I genuinely mean that. I did not have a good childhood. In fact, it could be argued I didn't have a childhood. But I am grateful for what I had. Here's why. For those family members who I personally would deem as a complete waste of human air, they taught me a lot through their actions of what not to be. I actually modeled my actions and my life around not being like them. And because of that, they are a part of my line. They are a part of my family. They are a part of what shaped me. And I would not be the kind, protective, helpful individual if it was not for them. So I would be dishonoring myself not to honor them as I do honor my ancestors as well. So I do not pick and choose on that one because they did help shape me into who I am. Um, now that said, I do not usually directly work with the ones I don't like. I usually only directly work with the ones that I do care for, unless the ancestors themselves, I approach them and there's a lesson and they direct me to a family member that could help me with that lesson. Even if it's someone I don't like, I will still sit and listen. You don't have to like somebody to be able to glean wisdom from them. Remember that. We get way too deep into our bias on things too often, and we don't want to hear anything anyone has to say if we don't like them. And that's a quick way to dumb yourself down and lose a lot of wisdom. But I absolutely love working with my ancestors and honoring my ancestors, Grant. That might have been a little deeper than your question went, but I hope that helps a little bit. Uh, Kara, hey, glad you could join us. Animal Man, good to see you. Uh, Leah, I'm doing good, doing good. Hope you're doing well also. What's up to you? Shelby, hello. Glad you could make it for a few minutes. Animal Man asked, could I give a brief summary of what ceremonial magic is? Me, brief. Really? Okay, well, we'll try it. Let's give this a try. Okay, so in general, ceremonial magic is a basis or practice, usually often practiced through traditions, though not always. And amongst them, perhaps the most popular of those traditions is the Golden Dawn. And it is deeply, deeply rooted within Kabbalistic teachings and ceremonial rituals based around the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, the supreme ritual of the pentagram, the ritual of the hexagram, and many others. The center pillar ritual, they all follow a general streamline around these deep, in depth rituals. They utilize the names of God in most of these rituals and traditions, though not all of them. They utilize intoning, they utilize signs, meditation, evocation, and other things similar to that. It is a very elaborate, it's very in depth. They have special clothing, special drapings, all the tools. Every tool has its place and position in the ritual. It is a very precise form of magic, and it is actually quite beautiful to see and to participate in and to do. I do enjoy ceremonial magic when I get a chance to do it. I have worked through it with a friend who initiated me into his line, and I've worked through it solo through two different books, both of books which I do plan to do a review on here very, very soon, actually. One of which is the final book in the Pencak series, which I know many of you have been waiting on. And the other, I can't remember the title of it. It's on the bookshelf. I can see the cover, but not the title. But that would be a brief summary of that, Animal Man. Let's see. Purified. Do other realms like Fae, Dragon Realm also have a Ragnarok cycle? That's actually an interesting question. And the Fae realm and the Dragon realms, I know for a fact, do not have a Ragnarok cycle. I can't speak precisely as to why the Fae realm doesn't. That's actually an interesting question. And since I'm working with Mab right now and the Lords and Ladies for that Fae path working, I'm going to have to ask that question, Purified. Thank you for that. I'm actually kind of curious as to why that might be. In the case of the dragons, though, since their entire purpose of existence is to the balance of the multiverse, they keep all things in balance at all times. There is no need to reset their realm because it is a realm of continual balance. Not that that balance is just there. It is constantly maintained in everything they do. So they don't need a Ragnarok cycle because things don't get so out of whack that they need to hit a reset button. They're constantly doing that work. They're constantly tearing down that which needs torn down, building what needs to be built, that kind of thing. So there's not a need for it there. But as for the specifics of why the Fae realm itself doesn't have one, I can't particularly speak on it. I know it doesn't have one. I just don't know the whys on that. I could only theorize and guess, and all those guesses I think would be way too off the mark to be of any value. But I will pursue that since I'm on that path working, and perhaps we'll have an answer to that question soon. Newest, understandable answer. Thank you. No problem. Glad I could help you a bit. Yeah, Grant, I'm actually wanting to do an ancestor video here soon. It's actually on my to film list. I would like to get it out before the end of the year if I can. Glad to hear, Car. Glad to hear it. Stuart Henry, Satanian Magic, what are its unique boundaries? See, here's an interesting thing. You talk about unique boundaries. By and large, magic really doesn't have a boundary on it unless you place it upon it. What we call Saturnian magic is based upon correspondences and understandings that other magicians have researched and placed upon the planet Saturn or the spirits of Saturn. And those are limitations that those spirits don't actually have. A perfect example is the demon Azazel. He is a Saturnian spirit. He can help. You could work with Azazel your whole life if you and him get along well and you like him, and he can help you with any problem you got. He has no limits, and generally speaking, most of the others do not either. The limitations in which we place on entities are the limitations in which we place on them, and only the ones we place on them. We're the ones that are selling them short, not us. Like, look at the Norse pantheon. God is not the god of the runes or just a god of war. Thor is not a god of battle. The Norse don't even have concepts like this when you actually read the Eddas. These individuals are far more complex and far more versatile. Yes, there might be a specialty, there might be something they're skilled at, but that doesn't mean they can't accomplish something outside their specialty just like we can. I'm very, very skilled at cooking, but I can still actually get out there and mow the grass. I can do a lot of different things. I'm actually skilled in different martial arts as well. And then there's certain martial arts I suck at, but that doesn't mean that I'm not capable of it. The limitations and boundaries we put on entities are strictly our narrow view. We're putting them into a box in an attempt to foolishly bring them to our level, whereas we should seek to reach their level. I hope that helps a little bit, Stuart. Let's see here. Miller asks, can you elaborate on the transmutation of personal demons and creating servitors so that they serve a higher purpose? Well, that's a lot to unpack there, mate. Let's see what I can do, though. So first off, when we talk about personal demons, this is a title, an analogy, it's not a literal. It's not like you have literal demons just punching you in the face. So you're not transmuting literal demons. What you're dealing with is your fears. You're dealing with your traumas. You're dealing with your doubts. You're dealing with the things about you don't like. So, like, you can't see it right now, but I have like a mole right here under my goatee. I hate that thing, despise it. So that could be viewed as a personal demon, if you would. There's a few things that I've generally had to deal with. Fears, self-loathing, all these things were personal demons, but they weren't literal entities. So when we're talking about transmuting a personal demon, we are talking about doing shadow work and energy work in order to face ourselves, to find our strengths, our weaknesses, and to shape ourselves into the person we want to be, and the person we see, and the person we know we are, and the person we're happy with and we love. It is actually about knowing who you are and loving yourself and being happy with yourself, all other elements removed. And that can be very, very hard thing for people. Can you actually take everything away from you, be left alone, and be happy with yourself? Can you? And that's really what that transmutation is. It's about that personal development and growth. As far as creating servitors to serve a higher purpose, if you're not serving a higher purpose, your servitors cannot. In the story, period. Servitors are a creation of you. Servitors will never, ever be more than their creator, period. So if you're not serving a higher purpose, your servitors will not serve a higher purpose. If you are serving a higher purpose and are on a path of such, then your servitors are serving you and thus serving that higher purpose. Your servitors are nothing but an extension of you. And so I hope that helps a little. Let's see what we got. Let's see, Bornoldus, my theory on why the Fey realm doesn't have a Ragnarok cycle might be because it's always in a state of constant change, more so in some locations, but it changes much more significantly than here. Bornoldus, that's actually a fair fit theory. It really is. The Fey realm is potentially one of the largest singular realms in all the multiverse, and it is constantly shifting in massive and dramatic ways. So that is actually a pretty good theory, mate. I like that one. That's pretty good. Looks up on you. That one. Would you ever do a video on star seeds? I know which I am, just unsure how to approach. That is a topic I've considered. Here's the thing. It's also a very new topic, and almost all the information is conflicting. And it's so conflicting, I don't even like to use the word because depending, I mean, almost anyone on the planet can be a star seed as long as you find the right author to validate it. Um, and I do kind of pride myself on trying to keep to the more data based stuff. So this is a topic that fascinates me. It is a topic that I try to read on often, and I'm trying to actually get in that actually makes a bit of sense and sort through it all. But that has been difficult over the years. It really has. And that actually is one of the reasons I really want to do a video on star seeds. So I want to do a video to really honor the concept of the star seeds and try to get a lot of it together and put together and explain it in a way that I'm going to have to go broad with it, obviously, because there's much conflicting information. But I do want it to be at least solid enough to be helpful to those out there. But yes, it is something I am considering. I'm just trying to figure out how to approach it, if that makes sense. But yes, it is a topic I am considering doing, and I actually have a outline file on my computer that I have been tinkering with, trying to get the concept right and how I would approach that to do it justice. Because I don't want to just, y'all know me, I don't want to half-ass anything just to say I have a video on it. I try to only do videos that I'm going to be proud on my channel as they stay there. So yeah, I am looking to do one. Stuart Benny, thanks, big man. No problem, no problem. I try to do the best. I don't always promise you guys will like my answers, but I do try to answer. And I hope that one helps, Stuart. How would I use stormwater in my practice, Cara? I would I would use stormwater either as an offering to entities that deal within those energetic patterns, such as air dragons and or water dragons. I would also use it to as I really love to use stormwater in potions. And I know a lot of people are like potions, but any type of liquid that you imbue with magical intent is a potion. And this is actually something I want to do a video on. And I love to use stormwater in them because they have so much potential energy gathered in there from the storm. And that energy can be shaped, formed, and utilized to put your intent forward. So I love to use stormwater in endurance potions, workout potions, even health potions. One of my favorites, when I have stormwater on hand during, like, let's say flu season, I'll use stormwater to actually help make teas and stuff to help my friends kick the flu. I've got friends that kick the flu in 12 hours or less via tea. Now, again, I do not say in any shape, form, or fashion that magic replaces modern medical science. It does not. You should utilize the two together. I'm a big proponent of that. But those are my favorite ways to use stormwater, Cara. I mean, there's many other ways, including just general weather magic. I've also used it in times of drought, but you got to be careful with that. Droughts are necessary. They are a part of the balance. So when I utilize them in that manner, I make sure that what rain it brings is also part of the balance. So it may not be the rain I'm wanting. It may not be the amount I'm wanting, but I try to keep it balanced to avoid flooding. I grew up in a place where there was a lot of flooding. Flooding is no fun, so I am always mindful when I tinker with weather magic. And I know most witches these days don't take that into account. And then they cry when they go from droughts to floods, and they don't realize they caused it. So I'm very mindful when I do it that way. Anime, thank you for answering my question earlier. Can a zodiac dragon be a co-magician? No, a zodiac dragon cannot be a co-magician. A co-magician leaves all of their they actually leave the 9 elemental groupings, and since the zodiac dragons actually fall under those 9 elemental groupings as specialty dragons, a co-magician would have to leave its position as a zodiac dragon in order to become a co-magician. Co-magicians have no elemental alignment. They may have a personality similar to the element they once worked in, but they actually have no elemental alignment in order to do their jobs as a co-magician, because they're going to have to work in and out of all these different elements in order to help you. So that's a part of their job. They actually have to leave that position. They cannot maintain a previous position. And because of that, they do end up not being whatever it was they was before, whether it be a fire dragon, chaos dragon, storm dragon, or any of that. So yeah, by technicality, no, a zodiac dragon could not be a co-magician. You could have a co-magician who once was a zodiac dragon, who once worked within a zodiac current, but is not still currently, if that makes any sense, Anime Geek. Shelby. Shelby, so you work with your dragon guide every day. I'd love to do that. What type of meditation or ritual do you do daily? Yeah, actually, I work with both my dragon guides and, several entities daily. I'm a busy mage, Shelby, but the bulk of my workings is the Dragon's Flame Ritual, which is both found in Dragon Magic 101, and you can even find it here on the channel as a demo of it. I use what's called the Dragon Flame Meditation or Dragon Fire Meditation, which don't know that we have it on the channel. I know it's in the course. That is actually one of my favorite meditations. I also utilize my Arcane Sanctum daily. There's not a day goes by that I don't spend time in my Arcane Sanctum working with my dragons and or other entities. And I also use a daily hailing ritual, to which we do have the hailing ritual demoed on here. It is more of a Norse style ritual, but it is a ritual style I fell in love with during my time doing a deep path working within the Nordic current. And Dragon Magic and Norse Magic are probably the 2 backbones of my daily practice currently, and probably have been for most of my career, really. So those are the stylings of rituals I use, and Dragon Magic being the definitely the predominant ones. I am currently doing a Fae path working, so there are some rituals that I am being taught by the Fae that I am specifically using for workings dealing with that path working, but those aren't what I would call my daily go-tos. But those rituals will be, I'm hoping to be able to publish the path working that they're teaching me and be able to share that with you all. But I gotta get it finished and get their permission and get everything wrote up first. Purified, do you think AI can become sentient? That's an interesting question. Generally speaking, I'm going to say no. And the reason I say that is we can program AI to learn and gather data. This is true, but it is still limited by us. And, well, no offense, humans are stupid. So I don't know that it would actually become truly sentient. Because if something does not have a soul, I do not view it as truly sentient, just because something can gather information and process the information and utilize that information in a computer program or even within a robotic shell. I personally do not view that as true sentience. So we would have to actually debate the philosophical concepts of sentience before we could actually get into this. But without a soul, I do not view it as sentient. So on that philosophical concept, Purified, I'm going to say no. Also, technology is very, very fragile. I can't go in an Apple store without short circuiting computers. My friends will not even bring an iPhone into my house anymore because if it spends 2 minutes near me, it don't work, period. We haven't seen an iPhone in years that can spend 5 minutes around me and continue to work. So there's also those problems. But based on the general question of sentience, I personally don't, based on the philosophical viewpoint that I have of sentient, if that makes sense, Purified. Kaden, hello, welcome. Oh, also to my members, we are currently resituating a few things, but one of the top things on my to-do list right now is to get more live streams to the members of Tier 3 of the channel, the members only streams. So if you kindly could be patient with me, but those live streams will be coming and we're going to actually jump the times around. We're not going to pick a specific time because we do have so many different people at different times, and we will make them rewatchable to members only. So bear with us. We are getting those live streams coming. We've only done one, and I want to make sure we get more to you all. So bear with me. We got it coming. We got a lot of fun things in the works too. Also, we got a lot of great things in the works for Discord members. The big people over there on Discord. We got some challenges coming, and I'm looking at potentially starting a new series Mondays here on the channel. So keep your eyes open. We got some stuff we're going to try out. See if we can have some fun. Your thoughts on succubus or incubus mate? Are you using mate as in me, as in mate, like friend? Because succubus and incubuses are interesting entities to work with. There's a lot you can actually learn from them. They're actually really fascinating in certain areas of shadow work if you have to work in those areas. If you're talking about this concept that people have of dating a succubus or incubus, spiritual spouses, girlfriends, dates, it's a thing. It's a thing. However, you got to be careful not to use it as escapism. We are here in the physical realm to learn from the physical realm. If you run from the physical realm, you're not learning from the physical realm, and therefore you will not ascend. You will not reach ascension of any level. You're just going to be thrown right back into the reincarnation grinder. Anytime you find yourself fleeing or wishing you weren't a part of the physical realm, that you should view as a mental reminder that you got work to do, lots of work. A magician should not flee the physical realm. He should be very much a part of it and comfortable within it. So depending on how you mean that, Stuart, would depend on the answer. And I hope I approached it, I answered it from two sides there, and I hope that covered your question. Adam asked, can you tell me exactly what Freya looks like? Is she really beautiful? How do I meet her in the astral? Well, if you actually look at the contacting an entity video, Adam, actually Freya is the entity that I reached out to as the demo of that video. As to what she exactly looks like, she is extremely beautiful, is about the only detail a person can give, because she will often shift her appearance based on how she feels or what you will find beautiful. She does tend to more often than not go into blonde or even a blondish red color of hair, even to a reddish browns, but that's that would be on an average. She can easily have dark hair if she wants. She doesn't have, these entities don't have a set physical form the way we do. and they can shift their traits as they want. And she is a very powerful shapeshifter, to be sure. But yeah, the beautiful part, she always got that. She's always got that. And more often than not, she will present um, and more of her view around what you would find beautiful. But you will also notice that as you get to work with her, as you know her, that will shift and change as well. Because she's going to teach you more about beauty than you ever thought you knew. She will teach you all new things, all new understanding of what is beautiful in the world. Um, she is an amazing goddess. Hey, Frankie, better late than never. You know what I mean? Yeah, we actually tried to move these times up for you all across the pond there. Try and get more people interacting here, trying to do what we can. Also, we got 25 people in here and 16 likes. People, give us a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know you like the work we're doing. They'll show this information to more people as they're here on YouTube. More people can find us. More seekers can learn. More seekers can find their path, whatever that path may be. As you all know, everyone has their own path, and we would love to see everyone find their path and develop themselves and master themselves for the life they wish. So give us the thumbs up because that helps the cause. Let's see. Thanks for the no Terminator. Well, I didn't say no Terminator event. Me and technology don't agree. We don't get along a lot. Y'all know that. You've heard some of the stories. Um, so if you're asking like a Skynet incident, I don't think a Skynet incident on the caliber of Terminator per se would be feasible, at least at this time in technological advancements. Um, but could technology get a little wonky and go sideways and us lose control of it? That I do think is possible, but that would not technically be sentience. Definitely wonky is possible. Wonky's possible. But I don't think it would be on the levels of Terminator esque events. Yep, see, Mangrove's got it. It can still go wonky. I mean, hell, I argue with my Alexa device daily. My wife, I swear to God, she bought these things for her entertainment to watch me argue with it. I swear to God, she did. I argue with the TV. I argue with my phone. Yeah, me and technology don't get along. But I always have people to argue with thanks to technology. Stuart, thanks. I meant once you start a relationship with a succubus, is it lifelong? Can it be stopped? If so, how and why? How would you make the most of it? Depends on how you set that relationship up. Like all relationships, they're unique, and you've got to understand the relationship parameters based upon you and the other individual. So that would entirely depend on that. You could do just a tryst. You could do a relationship that lasts until you two decide you're bored with each other. You could do a lifelong relationship. It would entirely depend on you two. Um, there is no carved, set in the stone kind of thing. All right, Luna. Adam, what are some things Freya taught you on a deep level? Well, she actually had taught me to appreciate me, actually. I think earlier in the stream I mentioned how some of the things I had to deal with my personal demons were self-loathing. I actually viewed myself as expendable. I didn't think anyone gave one rat's rump about whether or not I was here. So anytime I was doing things to help other people, my well-being was never a consideration. I was expendable. However, Freya really dove deep into that and really helped me understand that that wasn't the case. And she actually helped me to see much of the beauty in myself and even much of the beauty in the world because I had actually become quite disheartened with the world, even. So she helped me understand that to a much greater degree and the differentials and the beauty within those differentials. Um, those would probably be the ones that I'm most comfortable sharing. Some of the ones that I apologize, Adam, I'm just really not comfortable sharing on here because they would go into, well, they'd probably go into areas that YouTube might be like, hey, what are you talking about? Get back here. Get back in line. Um, but things like that is stuff she did help me actually do and understand. Let's see what we got here. Baba asks, for those still learning, is it normal sometimes to interact with an entity to make them say things or move and do things that they're not actually doing just by mistake or lack of focus, etc.? Like how to filter when it's their doing or your mind making them do it. That is a tricky one, Bubba, and that is one that comes with time and practice and focus. That one is a hard one. And honestly, outside just practice, experience, and keeping that journal to document and under that way you can separate what might have been you and what was them is I've not really found a better way to sift through that just yet. I'm always on the lookout for better ways to sift through that, and I will continue. And hopefully, one day I will find a surefire way to sift through that. But right now, it's just hard work and documentation is the best way to do it that I've found, and it has worked for me as well as my students as well. Bubba, did any entity ever get mad at you for accidentally putting words in their mouth? Hmm. Yeah. I did have one entity do it. It was actually Hades. But he wasn't like mad in the extent of, I'm going to like funk you on the head mad. He was just like, hey, whoa, hold on. No, that's not what I said, dummy. Rewind it here. Here, rewind. And he was quick to correct me on that. But it was also based upon, it was very important he quickly corrected considering the situation, the discussion him and I was having. But I wouldn't even call it mad. It was just more like, whoa, rewind it. If that makes sense. I wouldn't even call it mad. Anime Geek, do you know if it's possible to work with Grims or Grim Reapers? The modern ideal of a Grim Reaper, they don't really exist in that particular sentiment. There are a lot of entities that crisscross and overlap within what we know as the cycle of death. There's not like just a singular group of Grim Reapers going around there with a list of names, and it's like, oh, your time. It don't really work that way. The cycle of death is very, very complex. The modern image of the Grim Reaper oversimplifies that cycle. So, in that, with that understanding, since the Grim Reapers do not exist within the modern understanding of them, then you can't really work with them. That's, however, on the other side of that, you can work with entities that work with inside the death current quite a bit. Um, and they are quite helpful to work with. I myself work with Hell. I've worked with Hades in the past. Odin himself is an entity dealing with death. Actually, so is Freya, who we've talked about here quite a bit. Freya herself is also linked with the death. Though within the Norse, anyways, Hell has the ultimate say over the dead, even over Odin and Freya. So there are plenty of entities of death out there. Anubis is one, and you have to look at the different ways that death and the cycle of death is handled. Um, but you can easily work within those currents, definitely, and work with the entities that work in them. And as far as what are you looking for, that would also be a larger part of that question. I mean, if you're wanting to go all Death Note and bust down a book that you write a name and somebody drops dead, not going to happen, because you're going to be completely effing with the balance and the cycle of death. And that's something that none of those entities will allow. They will not allow you to manipulate the current in such a way that would upset the natural balance and current of it. And to that extent, that yeah, even the Fey realms and the dragons would get involved. So it depends on how you want to work with them, but it is possible to work within the death current itself, if that makes sense, Anime. Grand, maybe in the future we'll figure out how to make AIs to be physical vessels for disembodied beings. That would actually be terrifying for me, Grand. That really would. Exilian, would AI be able to use magic? That's an interesting question, Exilian. I mean, energy is energy. They're going to be harnessing energy. But we do know that magical energy seems to have adverse and negative effects on technology. So, unless we can overcome the negative effects on technology that magic seems to have, then I'm going to say no, because they're going to reach out and draw. Even if they could reach out and draw in that power, it'd fry them. But then again, the AI, it would also have to be able to manipulate energy in order to utilize magic. And even though it has energy in it, it's powered by energy. Energy follows will. Without will, yeah, that goes down some interesting philosophical questions there. Because technically speaking, having a series of programs, pathways, and logical calculation and information usage programs is not will, because you can never go outside the will in which you were programmed with. So, based on that, it would have no will in order to manipulate the energy of its own. So, no, I mean, based on that, it wouldn't be able to utilize magic. Interesting question, though. You guys bring up some questions here. I love it. Dimension door. What do you mean by transvocation? Are you talking about changing jobs? Best way to change a job? Put in application. That is a particular word I'm not familiar with, and I'm wondering if it's a different spelling of a word from a different culture or language. Okay, hold on. Wait. Are you using this term as hold on. Are you using this term as partial possession? Um, because if you're using it as partial possession, then that would be a term similar to invocation, which invocation is it is like possession. That's exactly what it is. It's you and another entity um, occupying the same space. So yeah, I do have information knowledge on that. Like I said, it's a invocation is the most mild version of this, where you do well. Actually, channeling is the most mild version of invocation. All of this would fall under the category of invocation, because anytime an entity is its energy is being called inside of you, that's a version of invocation. Channeling is a version of invocation, and it is on the lightest end. Anytime that energy is going to be in contact with you, it will have an effect on you. It's going to leave a fingerprint, a change of some kind. Now, in the case of channeling, if you don't do it that often, those changes are minor. You could channel, and a week later, whatever energetic shifts happen will probably be gone. In some cases, you can even ground and do a cleansing and clear it yourself pretty easily. In the case of full invocation, depending on the entity and the time you spend invoking, those can become permanent. But as you gravitate past just standard invocation and move into closer into the possession realms, you're giving over more and more of your energetic consciousness to these entities. And because of that, you actually do automatically start leaving yourself with an energetic thumbprint that will begin to shift you in some shape, form, or fashion. Many magicians actually utilize this and actually bank on these energetic shifts and changes in order to help them achieve the results they're looking for. It's generally not viewed as a safe method, but then risk versus reward is always in the eyes of the beholder. Um, I myself have done full possession rituals, not even partial possession rituals. I do reserve them for entities I am in absolute trust of, and I have worked a long time with. But it is a massively large category, and anytime I've done it, they have left me permanently altered and changed, irreversibly so. I hope that answers your question a little bit there, because we are running out of time here, and we're going to have to get ready to wrap up. Wild. How do I keep myself, my family safe when I walk in the woods? It's not even a concern, honestly and truly. There are a lot of people who are terrified of the Fae in the woods. You know what? I have spent my entire life in the woods as a child running through the woods. My wife has done the same thing. She's basically a tomboy, good country girl. We both grew up running around in the woods acting a fool. No one ever warned us anything. And if they had, we wouldn't have listened. I know I wouldn't have, and I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have. But that's not something we ever had to worry about because the Fae aren't just out to get you. There is a lot of terrifying stuff out there about the Fae just out to get you. They aren't. They do have some weird rules, and they can be dangerous to work with in general. But just walking around the woods, you don't really have to worry about them. Most of the time, people blame stupidity on the Fae. They go into the woods, they be stupid, they get hurt, they get lost, and they want to blame the Fae. No, you just didn't know what you were doing in the woods. I have never once entered the woods and worried about the Fae. I have entered the woods, come up on an area that I knew there was something different about it. There was something weird, there's something special, something beautiful, something almost haunting, but it never worried me. And of course, once I got into magic and I learned to understand it, then I obviously knew that most of these places, not all of them, but most of them probably had some connection to the Fae. And with that knowledge, I would attempt to be as respectful as I could when I was there, but I was never worried about it. And, I just tear through the woods like I always do and enjoy. And if I come up on something and I notice it, then I notice it. It's kind of like I grew up where mountain lions were pretty common. I didn't go into the woods worrying about mountain lions, but at the same time, if a mountain lion showed up, I generally know what I have to do. And as yeah, I don't seek to protect myself from something that hasn't shown itself to be an issue or a problem. Um, so yeah, I don't really worry about the Fae when I'm in the woods. In fact, anytime I go camping, I welcome the Fae to come with me. Let's see here. All right, let's get ready to wrap up. Fifi, welcome. You joined us right as we're getting ready to wrap up. Sorry about that, Cher. Purified, no problem. Yes, and we'll see you Sunday. Remember, the stream on Sunday will be at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. We're trying to stagger them a bit to get so we can reach more people because we got people all over this beautiful earth that are interested in this channel, interested in learning, and we are trying to do the best to reach and get a chance to speak with all of you all. I honestly can't tell you how blessed I am that so many people have found this channel and are finding it useful. I get emails all the time thanking me for what I've produced and how much it's helped people and changed their lives, and that is amazing. I could not have imagined this channel doing that. And oh, wait, we got a super chat here. Alexis23 felt drawn to Faye, a path working. I would like are the Dark Fae. How would you work with Dark Fae? Could you explain your Patreon monthly spell? Okay. I am currently I've never found a Fae path working that I can recommend. So I've actually bit the bullet and I've dove into working with both the Seelie and the Unseelie, or the Light and the Dark Fae. And I have notes on the path working. I'm actually walking the Dark Fae path working right now, quite literally. And I am actually hoping to get that published. And I'm also wanting to potentially share some of that information as I can, some of the snippets, possibly with the members of the channel. I don't know how public I can go. I got to cover that with the queens. The queens will have to approve that. I do know that once I'm fully through the path working, I have a good understanding of it, I'm allowed to publish it. I'm hoping I can get enough understanding walking it the first time. I may have to walk it twice. We'll see what happens. But I am hoping to do that. So stay tuned to the channel, Alexa, because I am trying to get some solid Fae information out there. I know it is so hard to find good info on the Fae. And I was always taught, if you can't find it, and don't complain about it. Let's try to be the solution, and that's what I'm trying to do. I really didn't work a lot with the Fae in much of my career. Thanks to the dragons, I do have a working knowledge of them. I have made a few friends in the Fae realms, all thanks to the dragons. So this path working for me is new territory. It is really new territory, and it's been fascinating. And I am really chewing at the bone to share it with y'all. I just got to get some permissions and everything to be able to share what I can. Now, your second part of that question there, Alexa 23, was, can I explain the Patreon monthly spell? Yes. The Patreon monthly spell is a general spell working that I do for all my tier 2 or tier 3 Patreon. And if you look down here below, you'll see you can join the YouTube channel. There's 3 tiers there. So the YouTube channel members also get this benefit. So you may actually be better off to sign up for the YouTube member as far as to the Patreon, because Patreon's been getting wonky with us. I should probably state that. So if you are interested in this, you would probably want to sign up for the YouTube membership as opposed to Patreon. But that said, it is a general spell working that overall it focuses on prosperity, health, general well-being. We try to work in energies to help guide you along your path and whatever it is that you are working on. And it's a general spell working. However, that said, I will occasionally add something special in there depending on the month or the time of year. But I also try to make an announcement of, if you have a special request that month of something that you are trying to achieve, something important in your life that's going on, if you can message me via the announcement here in the members only about section, or message me on Patreon, or if you're just more comfortable, you can always direct message me on the Discord and let me know that this is going on in your life and you would like me to add this specific thing, whether it be a new job or perhaps a family member's ill and you're wanting to help them with their health or something like that. Then I am more than happy to customize the working to include that thing for you specifically. Um, it does remain general because of how it works, but I do try to customize it to my Patreon supporters and the members because you all do so much to help the channel out. So I do try to make that monthly working as beneficial as possible. And generally speaking, spell work I charge like $50 for. So honestly, it's a hell of a deal. But it's something I can do to be sure I give back to my tier 2 and tier 3 supporters every month. So I hope that answers your question a little bit there, Alexa23. See, thank you. We got thank yous. Stuart, appreciate you. No problem. Appreciate you too. Mugs up to you. Exilian is another creator. It really is an amazing feeling when you realize you're making a difference in the world. So, all right, everyone, I am going to hop off here. You all have a fantastic weekend. I got a lot to do this weekend. It's going to be an amazing weekend, though. A lot to do. And hopefully I'll get back to some of my normal research patterns and everything. Now that the family and the in-laws are gone, which don't get me wrong, I am lucky. I am a man who loves his in-laws. I actually love my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. I don't know how I've done that. Everyone I know has horror stories, but I love mine. So that worked out pretty good for me. But hopefully this week I'll get back on track to some normal workings and normal pacings and start working myself to death like I'm usually used to. I kind of miss it when I ain't got nothing to do. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe. Keep doing the working. Keep plugging forward. And keep those journals. I can't reiterate that enough. Keep those journals. They're so important to your path and your progress. And I will see you all Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Magical Coffee Hour. Y'all take care. Good night. Bye-bye.